Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. This is Designed by Deshe. I am Audrey Deshe and it's day one of Glam Christmas week, so I'm going to show you guys how to make a Christmas peppermint sundae candle using Dollar Tree items. So we're going to get our candles melted by popping them into the oven at 350 degrees for about 20 minutes and then get to work on creating that peppermint, marbling effect. So to do this, I am taking a Margarita Glass and I am just taking a spoon and drizzling the green wax all around it, just, kind of random odd intervals. I just really want it to wrap around and then I'm going to layer in red as well. And this is going to give that kind of peppermint, candy cane effect once the wax is poured in. After the first layer of both green and red wax is done, I will go back through with another layer of each, just filling in any extra spots, that I feel are kind of bare, or just adding the color in places where I think it needs it. And, this is totally up to you, so use your eye. There's, no real right way to do it. Just whatever looks good for you. Now it should look something like this when it's done, and you can already see that it kind of has that swirl effect. Now, before you pour any additional wax into there, make sure that you let it dry completely. It's not going to take very long. They're very thin strips of wax. So once they are dried, I went ahead and poured my white candle wax in there. And this is going to serve as the ice cream base. And because I let it cool a little bit before I poured it in, like this was kind of cooling the entire I was drizzling the marble effect. So you'll be able to see it starting to solidify pretty quickly all on its own. But before I move on to the next part as well, I will be letting this dry completely. Yeah, just a side note here, I usually glue my wicks in with just a dab of hot glue before I ever start, but I did totally forget on this one. So due to the fact that the wax is already kind of cooling and starting to harden, it was the perfect time to slip it in there. I'm just making sure that it was all the way at the bottom, and now I'm going to leave it to set with the rest of that wax. While that wax is cooling, I'm moving on to starting the ice cream portion of this. So what I'm doing is I poured the wax into that safe container and then I'm starting to let it harden, and I'm actually taking a whisk and I am whipping it. Now it's not done just yet because it's still way too hot, so it's not really solid yet. But as it's starting to cool, what I'm doing is going around and I'm stripping the dried wax off of the edges of the bowl, and then also from the bottom as well, because mixing in those dried pieces is going to help create the consistency that I'm looking for while I'm waiting for the wax to cool as well. this is a good time to say that if you do have an electric mixer that you could dedicate specifically just to candles, it would be best because, I mean, this is a bit of a workout and only because, I mean, you're going to be whisking regularly. While you're waiting for it to harden, you can't let it harden completely, so you will be whipping throughout the entire process, and you can definitely do it by hand as you see me doing, but an electric mixer would definitely make life easier. I do have one and I usually use it, but it needed to be cleaned and I was on a deadline, so we were doing the old-fashioned way today. About 20 to 25 minutes, give or take. I've whipped it pretty much to the consistency that I want. I'm just going to set it off to the side so that it can continue to harden just a bit because I want that kind of flaky, hand-spun ice cream kind of feel. And so this is a great time for me to whip out my blow dryer. And what I'm doing is I'm going all the way around the edges of the the Margarita Glass, and I'm just letting the wax soften a bit so that it all kind of melts together and blends together in a, softer, kind of more realistic marbling instead of it looking so, stringent and harsh. So this is going to give it a much more realistic look. It's going to look like melted ice cream. And so as you can see, it's kind of melted down on the top. You can see on the side, so it's kind of running together, and that's exactly what you're looking for. And now, after one last little whip, I am really happy with the way that the ice cream turned out. And I'm going to start scooping that into the ice cream scoops that are going to go on top. Yay, it looks amazing already. Sundae is not a sundae without a little syrup. So while I was scooping the ice cream, I did pop a green and red candle back into the oven to melt it down for some little Christmas syrup. Now, I did pour on this one, but I did make several of these to sell, and moving forward, like after this one, I did use an eyedropper for this portion, and it was a lot easier. So I was able to customize more, much less messy, as you guys are about to see, and you just have much more control. So if you do make this, I highly suggest using a dropper for this step. Now, we can't have a peppermint sundae without a peppermint. So what I'm taking now is just a red crayon and a white chalk pen, and I chose to do a polka dot peppermint or candy cane stick because I have red and white polka dot ribbon that I'm going to use on this later for the bow. So I'm just going around and drawing tiny little polka dots all the way around it, and I'm going to slide that into the candle, and that's my candy cane. If I chose to burn this, or if whoever I sold it to chooses to burn it, the wax will melt. I love how it's turning out already, and look at that marbling. It's so cute. It definitely looks like melted ice cream. And now, I mean, all we have to do is dress it with a bow and we are done. So I just want to give a disclaimer. This bow is going to go a bit quick. So if you're looking for something a bit more in depth, please feel free to check out my shorts. I have two different bows there, one that I made for fall and one that I made for Halloween, and they are a bit more in depth than this. But if you are familiar with bows or bow tutorials, then you're not going to see anything out of the ordinary here, guys. This is all pretty standard. It's 4 ribbons with a zip tie, and that's about it. So I hope you guys enjoy the end of this. I hope you really stay to watch the finished product, and if you have not already, please like and subscribe to my channel. Your support means everything to me, especially since I'm just kind of starting out. I'm also taking requests, so if there's something specific that you'd like to see if I can make, go ahead and leave that in the comments. And also, please note that today, as I mentioned, is day 1 of Glam Christmas week. So feel free to pop by my channel every day this week. I will be dropping a new video. They will get more glamorous as the week goes, and we are building up to an Ice Queen Christmas tree. So I hope to see you guys every day. If not, definitely pop by on Friday because it's going to be epic. Thank you so much, and yeah, please enjoy. And there it is, guys, a Christmas treat that looks good enough for an ice cream shop. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. Please continue to come by for the rest of the week. I have some great things in store for you. As always, I am Margarita Glass for Designed by Deshe, and I will see you guys on the next one.